welcome to the Tuesday, August 26th work session of Harnett County Board of Commissioners. At this time, I will call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Vice Chairman Morris to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings we receive and give us the wisdom and the guidance to serve the best interest of the people of Harnett County today. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Well, we are a couple short today. So this time I will consider any additions and deletions to the published agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as stands, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, you got a motion and second to approve the published agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously, Madam Clerk. This time we will recess to convene for a joint meeting with the Harnett County Board of Education and the Harnett County Board of Elections downstairs. I'll entertain a motion to recess.
Motion.
Mr. Chairman.
A motion and second to recess. We will recess and reconvene. Order.
We're open.
Oh, you're already.
We're already open, yes. Both boards have previously.
Oh,
opened,
I
yes.
named it. Well, all right, well, who wants to go ahead and lead us off? Don't jump all in at once.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this meeting of the Harnett County Board of Elections, Board of Commissioners, and Board of Education. I'd like, on behalf of the Board of Elections, I'd like to recognize our guest here at this meeting for us, Chairman Matt Nickel of the Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Bill Morris, Commissioner Eddie Jaggers, and their main support, our County Manager, Brent Troutman, for the Board of Education, Chairman Joey Powell, Vice Chairman Brian Avante, Member Sharon Gainey, and Member Don Godfrey. We welcome you all to this meeting, and we all are open now, so we are officially on board. And we also understand we have staff members from the Board of Education, Board of Commissioners, and the staff, we welcome you as well. Purpose of this meeting, I'm sorry? Sorry? And our staff always, so behind us there. Purpose of this meeting is to reach a determination if there are any problems associated with early voting held in our public schools. I'm aware that this matter has been discussed from time to time, and hopefully as a result of this meeting and perhaps other meetings, we will be able to identify what problems might exist. If serious problems are identified, then it is my hope that the three boards represented here this morning can work together and find a solution to any problem that might be identified. I will say my primary concern, and what I will be listening very carefully for, are dangers for the students and teachers who are in the schools during these days of early voting. The Board of Education has graciously agreed to have teacher work days during primary and election days, and for that I'm thankful. So we'll be discussing here today early voting while the schools are in session. I am fully aware that there have been conflicts between the Commissioners, Board of Education, and Board of Elections when it comes to early voting in schools. I fail to see where unresolved conflicts between different governing boards in Harnett County serves any useful purpose. As I have said many times, without question, the statute gives the Board of Elections sole jurisdiction concerning elections in Harnett County, including where to have polling places. And I have also said the Board of Elections in Harnett County should not and will not operate in a vacuum. If public schools are used as polling places, the Board of Education, the Superintendent of Schools, and the principals of those schools should be at the very least be consulted as the best method of using their facilities. So this meeting is simply a fact-finding meeting to hear from those who are directly affected by using public schools for early voting, and later, if problems exist, to find and formulate a solution to those problems. So first of all, I would like to call on our Sheriff of Harnett County, Wayne Coates, if he would come forward and discuss from a law enforcement standpoint what may take place or any problems he may see early voting in schools. Sheriff?
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I was asked to come speak on what my concerns are out at school voting. And let me say this. My concerns have been not just this year, past year, since I've been sheriff. My job when you elected me was to protect the citizens of this county. That includes the schools. Now, again, the major issue I have had, the staff has had, I've had conversations with the past Board of Elections, is the safety. Safety of the kids, safety of the faculty, and the students. It's so important. And what I ran into, and we run into every year, is Western Harnett. The logistic part of it is the first day of school, or the first day of early voting. All of you, I'm sure pretty much everyone in here is familiar with Western Harnett High School, how to, the carpool line for the kids are. You've got that coming around the ball field, coming down for one way out, one way in and one way out. So then you've got the carpool line. Then you've got the parking lot where the buses are and people that are coming to voting. And all those kids are getting out, coming into the building through the gym or through the walking around to the front entrance, which creates chaos out there. It's a nightmare for law enforcement. It's a nightmare for the school and the faculty itself. I mean, you got these kids, some of them, like I was, I guess, I would be running late and run right across the parking lot, right into the school. You got all these folks driving through that are, even if they're coming in one way in and one way out, those cars are going right by where the students are running across the parking lot to get in. That is number one problem. The second problem that I really have a concern with is we have no control of protecting those kids. We have one SRO in that school. You've got all these folks that come in for early voting to go in, and they're filtered in through where the gym door is. Well, once they get inside those doors, there's nobody says they got to turn right. If somebody wants to get in that school and become active shooter, they gonna have a field day. It's just like shooting ducks in a barrel. They can, instead of making a right to go in the gym, they're gonna make a left and go into the hallways. Then you got your students, you got the faculty, and all kinds of things can go wrong. This is not something new. This is not something I asked to come speak this morning to try to get the voting changed. Whatever you vote on, if it's to stay there or to move down the road, remember one thing, you got to live with the consequences if something happens to a kid, just like I have to live with it if I don't do everything I can to look after these folks. So with that being said, I've heard comments about a fire department or whatever. If that's the case, there's one less than 3 miles up the road. They just opened brand new with a big parking lot. Whatever you decide, you're gonna have to keep in mind these kids and the faculty are not safe out there in this early voting. Wherever you tell me to go vote, that's where I'm gonna go vote. But as the sheriff elected by you, it's my obligation to let the folks know the problems we run into in that one school out there. So, and do you want me to take questions, or is this something?
If you want to take, any board member have a question for the sheriff?
I do.
You're not a board member, I'm sorry. Board members?
What about, do you have any concerns in Andrew? That's another location.
We have not, and have not had any problems in the past, and as an elected official, I've campaigned out there. We have not had a problem with that area out there. But there again, it seems to be the biggest problem is at the Western Harnett School.
So that's what my question is to you. That's the main one that you identified, but none other.
Have not heard
You
it.
go as a candidate yourself to all the others.
Yes, ma'am. And I did not run into that issue up there in Anger.
Other questions from the board? Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
We will now turn to the Board of Education and any problems they be having with the schools or whatever else in early voting in our schools. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Chairman Moody. And first of all, let me preface my remarks by stating that prior to being elected to the Board of Education, I was elected to 4 terms on the Board of Elections and worked with Ms. Jones, and actually I think it was McCormick's first term. And so I greatly appreciate the work that you do, and I also understand the plight the Board of Elections has in trying to secure good voting locations. Okay. My concerns, and I'm opposed to the use of the schools on early voting sites. I think I speak for most of the board here when I say that I think we're all fine with using the schools on election day, period. We have in the past, and as I think we can pretty much guarantee going forward to this board, we'll guarantee that we have teacher work days on election day. I think I counted, was it 9 locations? I think 9 of the 15 precincts use a school. We're fine with that on election day. We're happy to work with the Board of Elections to provide a place. Where my issue comes is with the early voting sites and so forth. And we'll have 17 days of early voting, which I personally think is too long, and I sincerely hope the board will address that issue. But I have two main issues with that. First is the loss of instructional time. Okay, and my second main concern is school safety. Loss of instructional time at Neander Elementary, the gym is used for early voting. So the gym and also the elective classes, the art class, the music class, they're all cordoned off. And the teachers lose the use for this almost, we're looking at over half a month of an instructional month when you have like 17 days of early voting. We're looking at a 20-day school month, 13 days or so, which is more than a half of a month instructional time. And not only are teachers inconvenienced, now if it's just for a day or two, yes, we can improvise with that. But we're looking at a long time, and with young children, especially at elementary school, this is, disruption when they need structure. And so they're having to use go to the classrooms, teachers lose their planning time, the elective teachers lose their classes. It's just an interruption in the routine. Same as Western Harnett, not as much of an issue there, but still using the auxiliary gymnasium there, not only does that detract from the physical education classes, but also for the athletic facilities as well. As a former coach, I can readily tell you how disruptive that is when you're trying to plan practices and so forth and lose part of your facilities there. But my main complaint will be the safety issue, and I won't go into all that. I think Sheriff Coates covered that very well. But I have noticed, as far as the safety concerns, when I've been campaigning up at the Western Harnett site, it's, like Sheriff Coates said, it's very, very difficult to maintain security despite our best efforts of our school security measures that we have in place, despite the best efforts of our Sheriff's Department. It's still difficult to maintain solid security there. And particularly, as the sheriff mentioned, as far as the large numbers of people, we had several thousand people voting at Western Harnett. And many of these people do not know the traffic patterns. And not only do we have students dashing across the parking lots, we also have several not only going to the physical education classes, but also for after-school practices, particularly football and soccer practice. And we see several players leaving the gymnasium area, going out to the fields and so forth, pretty much dodging cars and so forth. And so my main, like I said, concern would be the safety issue. Our student safety is paramount. And so I respectfully ask the board to find other locations for the early voting sites. Thank you, and I'll open the floor to other members of my board.
So something to go on top of the safety issue. The Board of Commissioners graciously approved our use of weather detection systems in the last couple of years. And for where these are happening, our folks or the folks coming to vote are ultimately not coming through one of these weather detection systems, and they are entering our buildings without being screened. And ultimately, that is, again, creating a safety issue. I can't explain it enough. This is allowing the public into the same building with our kids. It's just at both locations. Just an accident waiting to happen. I mean, it's not a problem until it happens. Then everybody looks at us, well, why didn't you do something? So that's just another issue. I think Mr. Pearson can provide some firsthand accounts as a principal at Western Harnett. If you want to speak to that, Mr. Pearson.
Sure, yeah. Chris Pearson, I was the principal at Western Harnett specifically during the 2016 election. And I think we all know that political tones and energies have shifted since that time. But during that time, I can specifically recall a student leaving for the day, heading to the buses, being a 15 or 16-year-old, doesn't always make the best decisions, decided to pull a campaign sign up off the grass, and a campaigner out there confronted that student, and I had to literally get in between them and separate almost a physical altercation between a campaign worker and a student, simply because the student was making a bad decision. Campaign worker was offended by that, and for me to then police the student and the campaign worker in the middle of that, it's just a difficult dynamic. As well as multiple times during those early voting days, walking down the halls as the principal, and I would, in a random hallway, interact with an adult that I knew was not a staff member. Hey, sir, ma'am, can I help you? What do you need? What are you here for? Why are you in the hallway? Oh, I'm here for voting. Well, you're in the wrong location in the school. Let me get you to the proper location. That would happen multiple times per week. Just, again, the public doesn't come to that school every day, doesn't know the traffic patterns and entries and whatnot. So, again, this was back in 2016, quite some time back, and as the principal there, I certainly had multiple antennas up during this whole early voting phase because of some of the unique challenges, safety challenges that it brought.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Are there other comments from our board?
Yes, I speak on behalf of the citizens that have contacted me. I am a retired educator, so safety of students is first and foremost in my eyesight, as well as the curriculum being taught. Sometimes we are able to switch part of the curriculum as far as PE and things like that we can't get in the gym. There may be an opportunity to switch that part of the curriculum. But the seniors in Harnett County that have spoken with me are feeling that this move may be confusing to them as to finding another location and also a distraction to them. One suggested something about having additional officers there similar to the state fair to advocate and to work at those poll places. Western Harnett High School might not be the best school, but we do feel, and the citizens feel, like a high school is a safe place for them. That's how our seniors are feeling. Also, they have asked me the question many times, and I can't answer the question, but they also want to know if this may be a form of voter suppression. That's how our seniors are feeling. Some of those that have been voting in the same place, doing the same thing, they're just used to and accustomed to being there. And moving to a different place, they wonder, will the place be user-friendly? Will it be accessible to handicap, things like this. So I told them that I would bring the information to you as a member of the board as well.
Mr. Godfrey.
Yes, sir. Chairman Moody, I'd like to ask you to start with approximately how many voters do we have in Barbecue Precinct? Do you know right off?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Probably around 13 or 14,000.
Mr. Guthrie, could you speak closer to that microphone, please?
Probably about 13 or 14,000, probably.
16,000.
Close to it.
16,000, but we split.
Okay, I've lived in Barbecue Precinct all my life. I've worked the polls. I used to be a poll worker when we voted at the fire station. I've been down at Western Harnett ever since we started voting at Western Harnett. And I've always had concerns at Western Harnett. And I will reiterate what the sheriff said. There's so many safety problems by having this early voting at Western Harnett. Number one is, like he said, you've got an auxiliary gym that you go in to vote. Okay, you've got a hallway right beside of it. If that voter, like he said, turns the wrong way and goes down that hall, he's got access to the school. It doesn't matter. He can go right into the school instead of going into the auxiliary gym to vote. That's a problem, big problem. Next problem is we've got kids coming out the two side doors right beside of the hallway and the auxiliary gym. They bust out of those doors about 30 at the time going to the football field to walk around or to run. And you don't know how many times that I have been down there working the polls and have seen a child almost get hit by a car that was trying to find a parking place or coming fast down that road to get to the school or to find a parking place. Then you got curbside voting. which they line up all the way up the hill. Then you've got car rider line that lines up the same way in the afternoon. And you know, folks, once they get out there and sit for 30 minutes, when school turns out, they are ready to go. And they're not paying a whole lot of attention to the kids running out to the buses. Okay, you got your school buses parked right out in the parking lot, right in front of the auxiliary gym and the hallway I'm talking about. Those kids are going out to the buses. You've got people voting that's parking between the buses. That's number 3 problem. You got buses, kids loading up on the buses. You've got buses leaving. You've got car riders leaving. You've got curbside voting people leaving. It's not feasible. It's dangerous. I've almost seen faculty get hit, and I've almost seen a lot of kids get hit, and thankfully, we've not had any fatalities or any injuries so far. But that day is coming if we keep on with all those days. Now, I'm not opposed to using Western Hornet High School on regular election day when school is closed and there's no children and no faculty there. But folks, this board is responsible for the children, the stakeholders, and the faculty in Harnett County Schools. We've got to answer to that. And I don't want to answer to some kid getting run over by a early voter, a curbside voter, or whatever. I don't want to be responsible for that. We have a old Benhaven school that's not very many miles away from Western Harnett. I think the county commissioner spent something like $5 million to rehab that school. We've got an early college there. For any of you that's never been out to Western Harnett area, if you've never been to the old Benhaven school and seen our early college, I invite you to come out and look at how nice it is and where that money was spent and how well it was spent for that early college. There's a big gymnasium at Benhaven, same size as the one we vote in at Western Harnett. It would be no problem. Plenty of parking space out front, side, and back. You don't have to worry about a car line. You don't have to worry about curbside voting if you would have it at Old Benhaven School. And everybody in that part of the country knows where Old Benhaven School is at. It's right off of 87. It's not hard to find. And I know people get used to voting in a certain place and they don't want to change. They don't want to hear anything about a change. But I'm telling you folks, we need to change early voting and get it away from Western Harnett High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godfrey. Is there anything else from our board? If not, Chairman Moody, I yield the floor back to you.
We've now turned to the Board of County Commissioners. Chairman Nickel.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, obviously, without beating a dead heat line here, I'm going to echo the same simple sentiment that this comes down to safety of the children. With the climate and environment that we live in nowadays, this is something that we really need to focus on. And if we're going to go ahead and just invite the general public and population into our schools with our children, I think we have a problem. So I really don't have anything further to say than that. I mean, it's pretty darn simple. Turn it over to any other commissioners if they'd like to say something.
Mr. Moody, I have two questions. The first one being, are y'all responsible for setting the number of early voting, or is that by the state?
We can set it to a point.
How about the days?
Yeah, that number
The number of days is statute.
statutory.
The number of days and the days of the week
Or statute.
are statute. So y'all don't really have any control of that. Because it kind of moves to my next question. The school board, I don't think you would, because I know when I was on the board, we didn't have a problem. Even if the early voting was on the weekend, you wouldn't have a problem with that. It's just during the school hours is the issue. So I'll reemphasize what you're saying is that I know people get upset. Oh, wow. It's gone crazy on me.
That's the answer to your second question.
I agree. This is simply, I know from our conversations on our board and conversations with y'all, the main concern, I know some people think there's other motives, but this is strictly a safety issue. It has nothing to do with anything but safety. And I think if the education was put out there and enough notice ahead of time, I think that we could educate the public about a change in a loading location and maybe coordinate trying to help that happen. But I know from our standpoint in our conversations, this is strictly about safety. It has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I could go over again everything they said, but it comes down to just that, is control of the building, keeping folks from wandering throughout the building, and exposing the children to what's, you may or may not happen. At the end of the day, we've been fortunate, knock on wood, we've not had an incident, but when did Noah build the ark? Before the rain came. And that's kind of where I'm at with this, is, you know, we've got Ben Haven, we spent millions of dollars refurbishing it. There is a gymnasium over there that worked perfect, with plenty of parking, and we would ask that y'all please consider that.
Anything from our Board of Elections members?
Well, I just want to say, I am one to get it out of all of the schools. I've made that comment several times, and I agree with all, well, everybody just had a comment, but we do need to get it out of school. Fortunately, we don't have any early voting this year in any of the schools, because it's a very small election. So it leaves us at what, about a year and a half, if we got to get notice out to everybody. This is about a year and a half to find new locations for all early voting out of all the schools. I agree with the sheriff, maybe no problems in Andrew, but all it takes is that one incident, and then it's back on all of us. So, and I agree. Let's just not,
Other comments for Board of Elections?
Sheriff is ready.
Well, I understand the concerns about the safety, and we are, have children that went to Hardeman County schools, and I certainly want all the children to be safe. Our problem is finding another location. We're probably gonna have to look at fire stations or, something else. And we're trying to do early voting. So Harnett County is a big county, so we look to try and have a location in each corner of the county. So that's really the big. And I do think Ben Haven's a good solution. Maybe with the addition of one of those new fire departments there. So I don't know if the fire department chief is here.
He's Larry.
He's not here. But we do have some of those fire stations that could work. But that raises all new questions. I mean, the problem is that whoever's building we use, they're not, they lose the use of it for that period of time. So nobody wants us, basically. But we've got to do it somewhere. So we're just trying to find the best place, to balance, all the competing interests. But I appreciate all the feedback. And it's not very clear that Western Harnett should no longer be used. So I've gotten that message.
Sheriff, you had a question?
I think the young lady here mentioned something about maybe more deputies if it stayed there. I misunderstood what you were saying, that there could be more deputies as far as safety. Was that?
That was more deputies no matter what school we chose to.
Okay.
If we chose to move to a different school, if safety is an issue, and like Ben Haven would solve the issue because you wouldn't have students there. But yes, that would be one thing at Western Harnett. If you had to stay at Western Harnett, could there be other deputies, off-duty deputies that were working? That was one of the questions I was asked to bring to the.
Well, the one issue I think you would have there, which comes up every election, and it was even when I was running for sheriff, we got complaints about voter intimidation because the sheriff's office and police officers are there. So I don't know. Yes, would I put them there? Absolutely. But the next complaint that the Board of Elections is going to get, and the Board of Education, is, well, these deputies are out there in their uniforms and it's intimidating to the voters. I don't see that, but a case was tried up in Coach several years ago. One of my big fan club members filed a lawsuit against Chief Hall and his staff because they were out there. It went to Superior Court. Same one that heard my case when they tried to shut me out up there. And Judge Rozier was the judge and he dismissed it. So it's not in voter intimidation. It's only intimidation if you let it be intimidation. That's my personal opinion. But putting more officers out there, if that's what y'all need, I'll do it. But just know, somebody's gonna complain, voter intimidation. So again, the number one thing.
Well, don't you have the ability to have?
I'm sorry, there's two people talking here.
Has 2 or 3 SROs out there. At the school.
Sheriff, would you address your comments to these boards?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're not taking questions from individuals. Allison Heather.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the ability to have a plainclothes officer, correct?
Plain clothes? It depends on what the event's for. If we have undercover agents out there working, but if you want to deter somebody from coming in a school and shooting, you need people in uniforms. That's going to be your best deterrent. And I'll give you a good example. The open concealed, where you can carry a gun. If I was going to go in and rob a convenience store and that man's got a gun on his side, the first one I'm going to shoot is him because I know he's the one who can hurt me. So you need that deterrent out there in a uniform if you're going to put them out there. It doesn't matter to me. My number one job is to protect these students, the faculty, and try to prevent anything happening. One officer is not enough. But then you are faced at living voter intimidations. Probably a lawsuit out of that. But I just want to throw that in. That's the reason I wanted to bring that up. We have a problem also with the social service building over there. That was an issue one time because the deputy's car sits out there in the parking lot. Even though the deputy's inside the social service building, he's not out there, and that was a big complaint. Which that car stays there, it belongs to social services, they pay for that deputy, and he stayed inside the building, but yet people were upset that that car was out there in the parking lot, that was intimidation. So I don't know that there's a win-win for that anywhere. The number one win is for us to keep the faculty and kids safe.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, Mr. Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sheriff, if you would, to the best of your knowledge, other than a uniformed patrol officer being inside the polling place, which is defined as in the voting building or the 50-foot no polling place area on the outside, is there any statute or any case law, in your knowledge, that says that a patrol car sitting in the parking lot or a deputy standing in the parking, or any law enforcement for that matter, voter intimidation?
No.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
Anything else from the commissioners? All right, Member Gainey, if we choose to move from Western Harnett, I don't know that we will. This is what all this is about. We will have a very good pattern to go by because we've just created 2 new precincts in Anderson Creek and Barbecue. And the staff is doing a wonderful job of notification of all the voters affected there. And in this case, if it is moved, and it may not be, that area of Harnett County will be well notified of what we do. In the case of the 2 new precincts, each registered voter in that precinct is being sent a new voter registration card telling exactly where to go to vote. Not where to go, but where to go to vote. And we may go to the schools with information sent home, and we're trying everything we can to make sure every voter in those actually 4 precincts know exactly where to go to vote. So we've got a sort of a pattern here we can go by. And we don't know yet what's going to happen, but we are striving in those precincts to make sure everybody's noticed where to go vote.
And I appreciate that. I do understand that. And again, I'm an advocate for the citizens of Harnett County. If they ask me to share something and I can vet it, I share it. So that's what I've done here today. Also, there's research has shown that no matter how much information you share with voters, some are still going to be misinformed, some will not go to the correct place, things like that. That's another issue that was brought to my attention as well. So I understand exactly what you're saying, I can appreciate that, but some people are just going to miss it regardless. And they'll end up in the wrong place on the day of voting. Then they do the provisional ballot or whatever, it may count or it may not. But again, I'm a retired educator. Safety is first for me. I have grandchildren in the school system now, so safety is first. But at the same time, we want somewhere that the citizens of Harnett County can feel safe and welcome. And again, here in Benhaven, at one time, people were talking about churches and things like that. Now, I was against that. But now moving to another location, a church or a fire department or something like that, I'm fine with that. Western Harnett is a big issue. I campaigned out there myself, so I do realize that is an issue.
And you're a very good advocate for your cause.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for identifying the issues with Western Harnett. Initially, my thought was you were trying to throw us out of all of the schools, right? And I think that is the goal. But I can understand the issues with Western Harnett. I don't have a mic, so.
Pass the mic, please. Thank you.
I said I can appreciate the issues that you're having with Western Harnett. I think as a group, we govern the board. There's 3 entities here, the county commissioners, the money people, you guys, the educators, and we elections. So we need to have our own meetings to outline what we need to do about Western Harnett. We can appreciate your honesty and your candor. I think that's where we'll start there. And our meetings are open. You're welcome to come. Comments are at the beginning. Each person gets 2 minutes for 30 minutes of time. And we'll work toward that, a solution for that. We don't want any kid getting hit, run over innocently, by someone trying to vote. So we take safety just as serious as any other board in this county.
Just a moment of reiteration, we're good with day of elections. So, again, we can set that as a teacher workday and not have a problem at all with that. Our issues lie with the 17 days of early voting. So should someone miss out on early voting, there's plenty of opportunities to ride to Lillington, to go to your day of. There's plenty of options out there to keep folks from being able to cast a ballot.
The issue is having it like Benhaven or whatever community. Once people get used to that, it's going to be hard for them to remember, okay, I still can vote at Western Harnett on, whatever day you're closed. So typically, once they get used, we get them used to one, that's where we're going to have to probably have them vote because you'll miss voters. They'll show up somewhere, it's not open there anymore. So if we're going to move, it's probably, but we'll have to take it back and discuss. It'll probably be a solid move.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify something. So Western Harnett in 2024, we had over 15,000 voters, and I think that's why Western Harnett's being used as an example, just because the probability of an issue being there with more people, but I would also think that the liability in any school is the same. So I would like to see eventually them out of all of the schools, because it doesn't matter if it's 15,000 people or 100 or 1 going into a school that's not vetted before they go in around my children.
Are you just speaking to me or all of us?
I'm scanning the room as well, but you were also the one that asked about, the intention of it being in the schools
or allowed in any of the schools. I think the ultimate goal should be to get them out of all of the schools.
Are you talking just about for early voting, or do you want them out on election day also?
While children are there, I think we've kind of cleared that up, saying, early voting, if that's the issue.
I just didn't know if you were saying like you wanted out of the schools altogether, but you're just talking about early voting.
Well, yes, ma'am. If you have, and that goes along with, obviously the kids are not in school on the actual election day. And I think that's where the concern is really coming from too, as many days, whether we can tailor that or not having it there when children are there to be learning and not worried about safety and their concerns. So.
Mr. Moody?
Yes, sir.
I just want to speak on about moving a polling location. I live in Makers, and when I first moved there, I voted at one location. Then it was moved to the fire department. And then it was moved to Boone Trail School.
Right.
I got no notices, as I voted in about every election that I've been old enough to vote. Never got notified that it had been moved until you go to Boone Trail Fire Department to vote. There's nobody there to vote. So those transitions happened, and there were probably some people who moved, but it did work. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that moving it for safety reasons, if you put the campaign forward to get it notified, I think it will work.
So, county commissioners, we'll need funding for that, because it takes a lot of money to notify all the citizens. Now, since I've been a member of the board, whenever there were changes, we asked for the money, we advertise. As you know, we have more ways to advertise. We do the billboards, the new electric. I love that little electric sign, which you can just look up and see things as you're driving. The water bill, there's different ways that we now try to communicate, paper, radio, any ability that we can, but some things cost. So we'll need that funding to help us with that. So,
Y'all put a budget amendment request together and send it to us?
we will.
Well, we seem to be getting a cart before the horse. We haven't made a decision yet,
Well,
one way or another. So when we get to that point, we will work with the
We're gonna take it.
commissioners and the Board of Education to reach that point. And
I just want to put it out while we have everyone here,
Oh.
money, it takes money to make changes.
And I do apologize for us moving the microphones around and that, but the Board of Elections does not have a permanent meeting home that we can do this in, and we can have a room set up to do this, as do the commissioners and the school board. Hint, hint, all right? So, if there's nothing else, what my plans are now at our Board of Elections meeting next Tuesday, we will place this matter on the agenda, and if we can reach a decision as to whether it should be moved, whether it should not be moved, or receive additional information, we'll make that decision there. And after that decision made, I will come before the commissioners and the school board and inform you of what the Board of Elections has done, and ask for your help. And hopefully, we may have to form a committee between the three boards. And if it is agreeable to this board to move, form a committee of the three boards and staff members and find a new location and then come back, if that's agreeable with the board.
Claire to say something about the Wilson Hornet issue.
As far as like alternate locations.
That reached that point.
But whenever we get.
Yeah. Claire will sort of guide us along the processes of moving a polling place. So that's the plan I have. Anybody else have a better plan? You don't?
Well, I mean, I just think we need to, we're in charge of elections, we need to get together, have our meetings, and
Well,
we
that's
know
what I
when
just
they
said.
meet, we know when they meet,
Yeah.
and.
So, this board will meet next Tuesday at 6:30. Public's welcome. At that meeting, we will have a 30-minute public comment session, if anybody would like to come and speak there. And then we will discuss the matter among this board and decide what exactly to do. And I do appreciate the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education and the staff being here today. And if there's nothing further, the Board of Elections is adjourned.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Motion to recess and
Motion to recess, reconvene upstairs in a second.
Being up here, I will call the meeting back to order, and we will have a presentation concerning the historic tourism in Harnett County. Mr. Cyan Harrington, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Cyan Harrington of Irwin. Appreciate the opportunity to come and address you this morning. Those of you who know me know my passion for preserving the rich history of Harnett County. But my purpose this morning is not to address you simply on the esoteric value of preserving history, but about the money Harnett County stands to make from our state's booming tourism industry. Recent census statistics place Harnett County among the top 5 fastest growing counties in North Carolina. Because of this growth, we stand to benefit significantly from the increased revenue tourism can provide. In 2023, visitors to North Carolina generated nearly $4.5 billion in federal, state, and local taxes, just tax revenue. And that figure is continuing to grow. Each year, North Carolina welcomes some 43 million visitors who spend nearly $36 billion in our state. This massive amount of tourist spending promotes and sustains small businesses throughout our state, which the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina reports amounts to 25% of products and services sold by these small businesses, and accounts for 6.2% of total employment in North Carolina. That's more than 250,000 jobs whose salaries contribute nearly $2.6 billion to state and local communities. How much money might Harnett County be leaving on the table by not developing and promoting itself as a tourist destination? Well, let's look at the numbers. In 2021, VisitNC.com reported Harnett County received $104 million from identifiable visitor spending. By 2023, that figure had risen to an estimated $124 million. In the same year, Cumberland County brought in $677 million, and Moore County an impressive $805 million. Visit NC ranked Harnett as 47th out of 100 counties in tourism revenue for 2023, and 50th out of 100 in all tourism categories combined. Now, obviously, we're not blessed with the same types of assets as Cumberland and Moore counties, but we do possess assets that can be developed to attract visitors. A major component of our state's tremendous tourism industry is historical and cultural tourism. Harnett County will be making a serious mistake if we overlook the impressive economic possibilities offered by this ever-growing segment of tourism. Properly funded, managed, and publicized, the historical and cultural assets of this county have the potential to create impressive revenue. Now, Rome was not built in a day, nor will Harnett County explode overnight as a premier visitor destination. But the sooner we act, the more we can preserve and the quicker we can begin to benefit from the resources we have. Yes, money in the county is tight, but there are initiatives that can be explored to get the ball rolling. Add to this the interest and enthusiasm of many people around this county who are very much interested in not only preserving, but sharing our history and cultural resources. For example, the creation of a Harnett County Historical and Cultural Arts Commission with the county's support could work to identify, promote, and encourage the development of historical and cultural arts related resources with an eye to increasing visitation. One of my dreams has always been to see the long overdue Harnett County History Museum established. Properly supported, this museum would attract visitors from both inside and outside the county. In the future, a Harnett County Cultural Arts Center might be established as a venue for everything from craftsmen and artists to musicians and theatrical productions. The good news is that Harnett County's resource base is going to improve over time due to our projected growth. Eventually, some level of financial investment by the county will be necessary, to ensure we develop and properly manage our historical and cultural resources to maximize their potential for visitor spending. There's an old business adage that says it takes money to make money, and that remains true. But in spite of this, I believe by using data-driven insights to implement wise planning, the proper shepherding of allocations, extensively exploring grant possibilities, seeking fiscal support, financial support from both private and commercial resources, and acting with determination and dedication, Harnett County can harness the power of our historical and cultural resources for the economic benefit of the county and her citizens, both current and future. In closing, allow me please to quickly mention the two best existing historical resources in this county, Shaw's Halfway House and Tarkiln Village. And I think you've got a picture and brochure there in front of you. The Shaw Halfway House was built on the old Raleigh-Fayetteville Stage Road, the I-95 of its day, around 1795-98 by Revolutionary War veteran Poplarfoot Daniel Shaw. It served as a private residence, stage stop, tavern, community gathering place, polling place, and because of artifacts found on the grounds nearby, was likely a militia training site. It is, to our knowledge, the last remaining stage stop on this famous old road that's in Harnett County, and is believed to be the oldest house in Harnett County remaining on its original foundation. Fully restored, Shaw's Halfway House will become a local history, transportation, farming, and naval stores museum, complete with actual demonstrations of how tar, pitch, and turpentine were made by our ancestors. In fact, our state nickname, Tar Heels, was derived from this vital eastern North Carolina agricultural industry that thrived in the state from the 17th into the early 20th century. Thanks primarily to the hard work and dedication of Mr. Brian Avery, the Shaw Halfway House, which stands between Coates and Irwin, is nearing full restoration. Upon completion, it will become a full-fledged Harnett County destination, drawing visitors from far and wide to enjoy the historic old structure, its exhibits, and participate in the various activities and events staged by its supporters. One of the most unique hidden gems in Harnett County is Tarkiln Village, and you have a brochure on that, which lies just north of Highway 421, a short distance east of Seminole. The village is the result of over 40 years of work by Mr. Edwin Patterson. During that time, he has moved, restored, and furnished over 40 structures dating from the 18th and 19th century at his own expense and largely by his own labor. In addition to its many old restored buildings, the site contains the remains of a large tar kiln runoff, and for those who value the beauty and solitude of nature, there's a 1/2 mile walking trail surrounded by examples of western Harnett County flora, including a species found only on this property. This incredible site has tremendous potential. As a county park, it would be unsurpassed as a revenue for architectural tours, historical presentations, living history events, group gatherings, talks on the naval stores industry, old-time music concerts, outdoor antique fairs, and other such events. Properly developed and maintained, the funds generated by this visitation to the village would aid local businesses in the western part of our county, just as the development of Shaw's Halfway House would benefit businesses in eastern Harnett. If we invest in making Harnett County a tourist destination by investing in the development of our county's historical and cultural assets, we will maximize their economic potential in the lucrative and rapidly expanding North Carolina tourism industry. But we must act soon to begin the process of identifying what we have, what we could have. Then those assets identified must be prioritized and plans formulated for their development and marketing. Now, can we afford to do this, you may ask? I think a better question is, can we afford not to? Now, on behalf of the Harnett County Historical Society Incorporated and many people around the county who support historical preservation and cultural development, and increasing our tourist footprint. I sincerely thank you for your time and your kind attention, and if you have any questions, I will do my best to try to answer them.
Outstanding,
Thank you.
sir.
I have a question. What would be the first step we need to do to get going with it, moving direction you're talking about?
First thing we need to do is form, or maybe a Harnett County Historical Commission that could take a look at all the potential assets we have in the county. Anything that we could develop to draw people to come to this county to visit. Because when people visit, even these people who just do day trips, they spend money. And that's, I'm interested in history. I want to see history preserved, but I also like to see money come into this county. So we've got to make a plan. We've got to set up some sort of vehicle that can identify these properties. Decide what needs to be done to make them financially, a financial asset to the county. And, prioritize them. We've got 2 sites right here, Shaw's Halfway House and Tarkiln Village. It's like buying a house that's move-in ready. It would take so little to get those things going, and they would both be big draws. While those are getting up and running and bringing in visitors, we can be looking at what else we've got in the county that we could develop. So, that would be what I would do first, is just see what we've got and what we need to do with it.
Mr. Chairman, can we put this on the agenda the next, and if the staff, y'all could get us, difference in a committee and a commission, what is?
Well, the commission's more formal. The committee typically is more ad hoc.
Well, let's do a little more formal then.
Right. Commission would be more formal. Take representatives. We have to create bylaws, that kind of stuff.
And I'm sure we've got at least one person in here that is willing to be on it.
Yeah. And actually, I've been attending the Harnett County Museum meetings, and they're fairly well attended. There's 20 to 30 people there, depending on that.
I agree with everything you're saying, and I think we have failed in not doing better than what we have on that, and I hope we can make that up.
The money's out there. It's just a matter of us doing what we need to do to get people, instead of driving through Harnett County to get to another place, stop here. We don't have a beach, we don't have a mountain or anything like that, but we have got assets we can use.
If we can have staff go ahead and kind of look into that and come back with.
We'll look to bring it to the work session on September 9th.
Would be perfect. Truly appreciate
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your attention.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, moving on. Request for approval of Northwest Harnett Treatment Facility Project. Mr. Schoenberg, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. We're beginning work on the Northeast Water Treatment Facility project, and as you know, that's included in our capital improvement plan. We are currently in the qualifications-based selection process for a design engineer to prepare a preliminary engineering report. We expect to be in full design or go into design phase in 2026. We are requesting this project ordinance to establish a budget for revenues and expenses over the life of the project. These estimates provided are based on recent treatment plant projects of similar size in the area. Any questions?
Motion to, not put on consent agenda. Can you do a consent agenda?
Go ahead and add this consent agenda. All right, and I have you up again to discuss a request to award an engineer contract in the amount of $400,000.
Yes, sir. Harnett Regional Water is recommending a comprehensive water system master plan update. Comprehensive updates are generally recommended every 5 to 10 years, especially for large water systems in communities experiencing rapid growth. It's been 10 years since delivery of our last update. Several components of the master plan would assist with future CIP projects, such as the Northeast Water Treatment Facility, and also, in particular, an updated hydraulic model can tell us how many new transmission lines and storage infrastructure we would need to connect to the new water plant. Any questions?
Questions, comments? Pleasure of the board.
Consent.
Add this to the consent agenda as well, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Discuss a request to consider and approve contract negotiations for the Animal Shelter and Adoption Center. Mr. Barry Blevins, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Hope all is doing well. So let me just go through briefly about the RFQ that was submitted back in the middle of May for our architect services for our Animal Adoption Center. The RFQ responses were due July 9th. We had 15 submitted, this book right here as far as what was submitted. So obviously this is a very specialized project. There was very good qualified firms, and this was a very hard decision. So I'm going to briefly explain the process that we went through, and then Barry and I are going to kind of make a recommendation of what we feel came out of these meetings. So we created an RFQ review team. There was 8 members on this team with different experience, knowledge, and different projects that they have done throughout the years. They were submitted for the team's review for approximately a week before returning to our first meeting. We had a meeting on July 21st and 22nd. Team created a short list of virtual interviews. So out of that 15, we narrowed it down to 6. And those 6 were put in these virtual interviews. So we did 6 back to back to back as far as going through. We give them the questions in advance. It was just more questions that we had for each team. So each team had a chance to respond, whether they did a PowerPoint presentation or just answered the questions. Each did an excellent job with that. The interviews were set up for July 30th, and that was conducted. They were given 25 minutes in any fashion they wished. And following the interview, what came out of that, from the top 6, we narrowed it down to the top 3. So after that, we made a final decision, and I think you have your scoring page in front of you, so you can see how tight this was as far as the top 3 were concerned. So with that being said, the committee and Barry and Larry and I would like to make a recommendation for Mosley Architect, and I'll give you the reasons why. Mosley has designed Harnett County projects in the past. Most recently, they did our DSS second floor upfit and then helped us with our Ag Center kitchen renovation. And many years ago, they did the detention center as far as at the sheriff's office. The vice president managing principal will be the main contact for this project. We really like that. They have worked on Seymour, construction manager at risk, delivering over 50 projects in North Carolina, and understands the CMAR relationship. And while I'm on CMAR, let me just state this to the board. So the first process will be to hire the architect/engineer. The second process, of which that is out for bid right now as far as the qualifications for a CMAR, construction manager at risk. So that will end this Friday, the 29th. And we'll go through the same process as far as interviews and picking a CMAR. So that's the second phase of this. The shelter design, Barry and Larry have been working with Shelter Planners of America. They've created an adoption shelter study for us back in 2022. They've worked hand in hand with them, and so that would be who Mosley would recommend the specialty as far as coming on board with them. Mike Bernard, Shelter Planners of America, has worked on 8 CMAR projects. Preferred delivery method for shelter due to his prior complications. And then Mosley and Shelter Planners of America worked on several adoption center projects together, most recently in Prince Edward County, Virginia. The civil engineer and landscape that Mosley will be choosing is Withers Ravenel, which is no stranger to Harnett County as well. So we were pleased with that relationship. And so we would like to recommend Mosley Architects for us to continue negotiations for architectural service for our animal adoption shelter. So that is a nutshell of where we stand. Barry and I will be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions, comments for staff? Motion to do the consent agenda as well, Madam Clerk.
Deal. And we thank you for your support as well.
Thank you all very much. Discuss a request to approve an agreement with Southeastern Aero to operate a SASO to provide maintenance activities at HRJ. Mr. Brad Abate, good morning, sir.
Oh, wait, you missed number 9.
You missed one.
Chairman, I'm sorry, you missed number 9.
Oh, my Lord. Discuss a request to consider and approve contract negotiations for the Animal Shelter and Adoption Center. Is that not what I?
No, it was actually number 10.
Number 10.
I got you, I'm sorry.
Discuss a request to apply for the U.S. Department of Agriculture Housing
That's the one.
Preservation Grant. Mr. Barry Blevins, good morning.
Who's running this show? I like to see that I'm not the only one that messes up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. This would be our second time, or actually our third time over the years of applying for USDA housing preservation grants. The state actually reached out to us while we were still completing ours, our current one, and asked us to apply. And so one of the reasons, because we have a lot of inventory in Harnett County that needs repairs. So it's well known through the state now through other programs that we're actually not directly involved with. So, what I did was I gathered, in this particular case, for the one we have ongoing now, it was just Anna Peel and myself who were doing most of the work with the help of facilities director, Kenneth Snipes. And so what I did was I gathered some of my other team members who can help out in the pinch, and mostly just for administration pieces. And we as a team decided we would like to come to the board and ask for permission to apply. I will say that USDA didn't get a lot of money from the federal government for this round. In fact, it's been delayed for 8 months. So totally through the state, it's $500,000. So we wish to request $95,000 of it. And it's a change from the agenda request. The agenda request originally said $90,000, but we're looking to get $5,000 additional administration to help pay for our work. Like last time, we will not submit an application if approved to apply. We will not submit an application with a match. It's not required, and we're not going to ask the board to support a 10% match. So it's a straight out $95,000. We've got our processes down. We struggled at the beginning with finding contractors, but now contractors are coming to us looking for work. So we think we could get these, essentially it would be probably 4, maybe 5 homes at the most to get done in a 2-year time frame.
Questions, comments?
Be glad to answer any. Consent with the amended amount. Thank you.
Go ahead and add this to the consent agenda with that revised amount of $95,000.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, now we'll go ahead and talk about the SASO agreement with HRJ. Mr. Brad Abate, good morning, sir.
Good morning again. Before you is a agreement for a special aviation service organization for Southeastern Aero. They're already out there doing providing mechanic services for aircraft owners, and ultimately it's a new contract, same amount for your consideration.
Questions, comments?
Okay.
We'll go ahead and add this to the consent agenda for approval as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Discuss a request to approve the Purdue Pharmaceutical settlement and second opioid manufacturer settlements. Mr. Chris Appel, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. So there's more settlements coming through on the opioid litigation. There's 2 of them. Put a proposed resolution before you. First one is with Purdue Pharma. That is a over $7.4 billion total nationwide settlement that's being proposed. The county's portion in this would be a little bit over $1.2 million. That would be paid out starting in 2026 and go through the year 2041, so a 15-year period of an additional $1.2 million. The other secondary opioid manufacturer settlement, that is a little over $700 million nationwide total settlement, so much smaller. And so the county's portion of that one would be a little over $195,000, again, over that same 15-year period. And if the board wishes to move forward with joining in these settlements, the resolution would allow for Mr. Trout to sign any and all documents related to these settlements. So I would just be requesting approval of this resolution.
Consent.
This consent agenda as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Discuss the Johnson Lee Harnett Community Action Group lease. Mr. Chris Appel, you're up again, sir.
Yeah, so this is just another new lease with Johnson Lee Harnett Community Action. They've been leasing a property out at the Shawtown building for a number of years now. Their current lease has expired, and so we are entering into a new lease. They rent 2 rooms over the Shawtown building. It would be for, again, same terms. It would begin at the execution of the lease and terminate on September 1st, 2027, but can renew it for 3 additional 1-year terms, so it'd be for a total of 5 years. The only thing that's changing is increasing the monthly rent, which, again, all of our nonprofits that rent space out there pay the average utility bill. And so the average utilities that are being paid out there comes out to about $431 per month. So that would be the new monthly rent during this term. So again, be asking for approval to issue a new lease to Johnson Lee Harnett Community Action for this term.
Questions, comments?
Consent.
We'll go ahead and add this to the consent agenda as well. All right, thank you very much, sir. Discuss a request from the North Carolina Home Builders Charitable and Educational Foundation for reimbursement of permit fees at 460 Beacon Road. Mr. Trout, if you would, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. I laid an agenda form on your desk related to this item. We had a request from the Home Builders Charitable and Educational Foundation to request a reimbursement of building permit fees and the water tap fee. They are a 501c3 charitable organization, which is required in order for us to be able to consider a reimbursement. They are requesting the county commissioners approve this reimbursement. The way this will work is they will be building this house, and then from the sale of the home, the proceeds will be provided to Deputy Chris Johnson's family to assist them with any needs they have. In the past, some of the veterans organizations have built a home and then gifted the home. So this is a little bit different, but you see the estimated building fees, which they have already paid, are $1,275, and the water tap fees are $3,440, which they still need to pay the tap fee, and then we would reimburse. There are funds within the county commissioner's budget to be able to do this reimbursement if desired. And I don't know if anybody's here, Tim Minton, or anyone's here if you would like to come forward.
Thank you, members of the County Commission. My name is Tim Minton. I'm the president for the Charitable Foundation for the North Carolina Home Builders Association. We do various projects across the state. In fact, I'm leaving here to go to Wilkes County to present a scholarship for a young person going into the trades. We have a program called Be Pro, Be Proud, where we have 2 semi-tractor trailers that go across the state. I know they've been to Harnett County to encourage young people into the trades. And this is a new program that we're starting where we want to be able to help first responders across the state. And as it's already been said, the plan here is we will be building a home in Lillington and with New Homes, Inc. I'm happy to announce that New Homes, Inc. has gotten all the materials and labor donated for this project. And once the house has sold, those proceeds will go to the family of Deputy Johnson. And so we will be doing a groundbreaking on October 2nd. You will all be receiving invitations for that. Hope you may be able to attend. And the request is if you would be willing to waive those fees. Our hope is that there'll be no dollars, any cost at all with this home, that we're able to give as much as possible to the family.
Outstanding.
Consent.
We'll go ahead and add this to the consent agenda for approval as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to review applications to serve on boards and committees.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend, I would ask that William Dan Andrews be moved to the consent agenda for District 4 on the Board of Adjustment.
Good. We'll go ahead and add him for approval.
Also, Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we move Ms. Jackson forward for a vacancy on the Commission of Women and Youth.
Outstanding. No objection. Any issues? We'll go ahead and add her as well. I've received 2 applications for a District 5 vacancy, one from an Abigail Farina, another from Alindra Johnson. I also have another application for a Dangerous Dog Committee from Miss Abigail Farina for a alternate member vacancy on this board. I would like to approve Miss Alindra Johnson for the District 5 vacancy for the Harnett County Commission of Women and Youth, as well as Miss Abigail Farina for the Dangerous Dog Committee. Go ahead and add those two for approval next week as well.
I do not have any further right now.
Outstanding. Move on to the county manager's report, Mr. Trout.
Thank you. Could you bring up the picture? I'll cover another item while she's bringing the picture up. Public Safety Committee that was formed by this board, the application is now live online on our website. So individuals that are interested in serving on the Public Safety Committee, you can go there and make your application. This is a picture of some staff with Leanne Blackman. She received her Hero Award last week, and it was great to have her and her supervisors and folks there to be able to celebrate. It was fun to see recognition for her, and it really represents other heroes that we have that work on our staff, because there were others that were definitely eligible. I want to mention that Community Day is this Thursday, August 28th, from 4 to 7 p.m. here at the RCL. So come on out. We'll have a lot of activities, food trucks, different things going on. So come out and enjoy that. I have a suggestion that was brought forward related to Harnett County Heroes Remembrance presentations. I'd like to propose to the board as a solution to that is that if you look at the front of our agenda, we do the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation, is to insert a Heroes Remembrance presentation at that point. I think that's a fitting location for the meeting, in case also that any individual that's maybe doing that presentation could do it and then leave if they had other business. But I think it fits as far as the mood, rather than interrupting the flow of the meeting. Do that right at the front if the board would be supportive of that.
It's an outstanding idea.
I think so. Good with that.
Okay, we will coordinate. I need to get with Mr. Mitchell about and Veteran Services. As soon as we're ready with the first individual that wants to do that, we'll add it to the agenda. So you'll eventually see it show up on our agenda when we're ready to start. We're organized and ready to start those presentations. Otherwise, that's all I have, Chairman.
Deal. Do we have a need for a closed session?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Even better. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. We are adjourned.